It's hard to imagine the NITA we know today with her washboard abs and toned arms was once smoking and drinking constantly on tour. Welcome to Gym Rock Crew. I'm Ramona and today we're listing 5 metal musicians who are fit as fuck. If you know any other fit female metal musicians who didn't make the list, let me know in the comments. So go ahead and grab something cool because things are about to get hot. And so, in no particular order, let's fucking do this. Heidi Shepherd from the Butcher Babies. American frontwoman for Butcher Babies, Heidi has been pretty athletic her whole life. From being a cheerleader to track and field, it's no wonder her stage performances are like an acrobat. However, Heidi faced several setbacks in her life that she was able to recover from and come back much stronger. She survived a birth defect called gastroschisis, which left her with a 7-inch scar and kinda no belly button. Then while competing in pole vault during her track and field career, she busted her back, which ended her track career. During an interview with U-Rock Foundation, Heidi talked about how she struggled with eating disorders and was anorexic and bulimic for a very long time. She also struggled with depression, anxiety, and took to drugs and alcohol. These led to suicidal thoughts, losing friends, her then boyfriend, and her sense of self-worth. She attributes her comeback in being able to face these demons during that phase through writing and performing metal music. In June 2017, Heidi quit smoking. She felt her stamina starting to slip and was having a harder time breathing on stage. Smoking was also doing a number on her voice as she felt her scream getting weaker each year. She knew that if she continued smoking, it would damage her vocal cords and ultimately her career. After she quit smoking, here's what she said. My singing and screaming voice is stronger, lower, higher, and everything in between. Running around on stage is easy and I feel like I gained a few years back. In February 2022, Heidi took up weightlifting. This is where her body seriously started to change. She continues to train with Bikini Fitness to this day, where she combines heavy weightlifting with high-intensity workouts, particularly focusing on glutes. Coming from a background of eating disorders, here's what she wrote. After starting this journey, I realized that it doesn't matter what the scale says. It matters how my body feels. Back then, I was so worried about each and every pound on the scale. Now I worry about each and every pound on the bar and how my body looks in my favorite clothes. You can see from these progress pictures how drastic the change in the shape of her body has been. She usually takes a combination of collagen peptides, pre-workout, and glutamine before crushing her intense workouts. Here's what she wrote in an Instagram post. I wake up every day grateful and excited to be part of this gym and group of women. These workouts have definitely made me a better person inside and out. Most importantly, I'm happy. Not only is my body getting stronger, but my mind is more at ease and positive. Being someone who has long-term lived with depression and anxiety issues, I can 100% say that these workouts have helped cope those dark moments. Lauren Hart from Once Human. This Aussie growler actually wanted to be a cat, then a ballet dancer, and finally a singer. She worked as a waitress in a cafe and bar and also studied to be a veterinary nurse. She calls herself a crazy cat lady and has a metal cat. No kidding, Lauren is jacked. She trains at home, at the gym, and even backstage when she's on tour. While touring, she uses TRX straps and a spin bike. She says, workouts before the show are part of my vocal warm-up. Suspension trainers conveniently fit in any backstage and don't take up room in the trailer. Lauren trains a lot with band guitarist Logan Mader, who also played for Machine Head. Logan is fucking hot and deserves a separate feature. In an interview with Metal Injection, Lauren and Logan talk about training 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week. They start with 15 to 20 minutes of cardio to warm up and then train on 3-day cycles. Cardio and abs at each session. When it comes to diet, they talk about eating a lot of protein, keeping carbs low, eating good carbs like sweet potato, and veggies like broccoli and asparagus. Lauren generally does more cardio when she's going on stage to build lung capacity, as her growling technique requires her to be fit to breathe correctly. But the bulk of her training is lifting weights, and she incorporates a lot of heavy compound moves like deadlifts coupled with some high rep circuit training. Perfect to give her the strength and endurance to perform on stage. Lauren uses upcoming shows and tours as motivation to train as hard as she can, because on the road her equipment is limited and she tends to lose weight, which is every lifter's nightmare. In fact, she talks about post-tour muscular atrophy, where after every tour the lack of gym routine, poor diet, stress, and lack of sleep all kill her gains. Luckily, because working out has been a lifestyle for her, she's able to bounce back quickly. She also loves hiking, and she and Logan regularly hike Red Rock Canyon. She wrote, training has been especially important for my mental health and overall well-being. I feel worse longer when I don't train versus the short-term dread when approaching a workout. Lauren sometimes sits in the parking lot of her gym and scrolls through her Instagram feed for motivation. She follows people who inspire her, and sometimes just scrolling through their profiles is enough to get her out of the car. Some of her fitness inspirations are Stephanie Sanzo and Applian X. In a post, she says, surround yourself with people, even virtually, who motivate and inspire, and you will be lifted up. Laura Guldemond from Burning Witches. This Dutch vocalist from the all-female heavy metal band Burning Witches combines aggressive and melodic vocals. Laura is a big mental health awareness advocate as she herself struggled with an attention deficit disorder growing up. She believes that mental health is as important as physical health and even promotes a mental health charity. She says that she was always a nerd at school, but at elementary school her teacher started calling her scatterbrain professor because she couldn't concentrate on tasks. She actually found this to be true because at university she found it very difficult to stay focused even during easy repetitive jobs. It was only later that she realized and understood that her attention deficit disorder was the cause of her inability to focus as well as the cause of mood swings and depressed periods. Her specific condition had been difficult to diagnose and hence even harder for her to function normally and feel emotionally stable. Like every performer, Laura needs to have strength, endurance and cardio capacity to perform at her best. I've had the chance to quickly chat with her and she said that she's enjoyed working out her whole life. She lifts weights at Les Mills body pump classes. On tour she stays fit by using resistance bands. Laura tries to bike or walk when she can to get in some of that heart conditioning cardio. She also goes berserk, her words not mine, on stage and that keeps her in shape. When it comes to food, Laura said that she's tried different diets for health reasons but she's too lazy to cook, so she really just eats whatever. But she does exercise portion control and makes sure not to overeat. She practices intuitive eating and stops eating when she's full, so she really listens to her body and has figured out what it needs to stay in shape. ALISSA WHITE-GLUZ from Arch Enemy. This Canadian blue-haired metal goddess is best known as the lead vocalist of Swedish death metal band Arch Enemy. ALISSA and her partner, the very Jack Doyle, best known from Misfits, who also by the way deserves a separate feature, are both vegan. ALISSA was born vegetarian and turned vegan in the late 90s. Around 2011, ALISSA battled with deep depression, but she refused to take antidepressants. For 6 to 8 months, she read a lot of self-help books daily to get herself out of that depression. Although she says it was a weird time in her life, she found it very empowering because she was able to pull herself out and learn a lot from it. ALISSA is a follower of straight-edge lifestyle, that is, she doesn't use alcohol, tobacco or other recreational drugs. When it comes to touring, ALISSA believes that musicians are athletes as they have to be able to perform at an extremely intense level night after night. For this reason, musicians have to train like monsters. Beast mode, if you will, to have the strength and stamina to deliver on stage. When ALISSA is touring, she practices high-intensity interval training and always carries adjustable dumbbells and power blocks. She also always carries resistance bands because they're lightweight, versatile, great for stretching and rehab in case of any injuries on tour. ALISSA contributes her strong immune system to being vegan. While she rarely eats junk food, she's pretty strict with the diet on tour and completely avoids junk food on tour. This isn't just to withstand the physical aspects of touring, but because her vocal coach says that her diet impacts her voice. She avoids processed foods, eats a lot of fruit, drinks a lot of water, avoids too much caffeine, and avoids eating too late at night. She generally lifts weights in the daytime and does a little bit of yoga right before the show. ALISSA considers the show itself her cardio, saying that it feels like 2 hours of sprinting when she gets off stage. When she has a day off during tour, she usually walks about 15 kilometers while exploring. Pre-tour, she does a lot of high-intensity circuit training as well as explosive movements like sprints and box jumps. She enjoys nice long jogs, including intermittent jumping sprints. To keep her mind occupied, she practices guitar and painting in her free time. I know you're enjoying this. If you are, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn those notifications on because you are going to love the next one. Nitastrauss, solo guitarist and touring guitarist for Alice Cooper. It's hard to imagine the Nita we know today with her washboard abs and toned arms was once smoking and drinking constantly on tour. However, she came to realize that regularly going on tour was having a huge impact on her physical health and that her body couldn't keep functioning with all the alcohol and smoking. She was 50 pounds heavier, constantly fighting with her boyfriend and was so unhappy with how she felt. She wrote, "For many years of my life, I absolutely could not go on stage without having a drink or 2 or 5. I would forego warm-up time, rush to get dressed or get makeup on, whatever had to happen to make sure I could get properly loosened up and relaxed before the show." Nita was able to kick the alcohol habit and got sober in 2015. She gives some credit to Black Label Society's Zakk Wylde for the help she needed to overcome the habit. According to an interview with Matt Stocks, Zakk gave Nita a pep talk when she asked for help. He said,
"Listen, little hurricane, don't be a fucking pussy. That liquid means nothing, doesn't fucking control you. You control yourself. You're a strong, badass bitch and nothing controls you. Only you control you."
And yes, of course, Zakk Wylde also deserves a separate feature. I am a huge fan. Once Nita kicked the drinking habit, she dropped 50 pounds. Her relationship improved and her career skyrocketed. Instead of fighting and drama, she now had productivity and peace. She says, "Now that I've been sober for a long time, my pre-show ritual looks very different. I still like to relax before getting on stage, so I find a quiet place to sit, stretch and warm up." Nita also stopped going to the bar after her shows and instead started waking up early to go to the gym. On stage, she has a step tracker to hit her 10K step goal. She is very active on stage, running back and forth with high energy moves and jumps. She wears a waist trimmer called Sweet Sweat to help her sweat more. She carries resistance bands with her for hotel room or gym workouts and tries to get in at least 3 to 4 workouts a week. Before her stage performance, she does sprints, less lifting and more cardio for about 90 minutes to get her prepared and energized. While she loves being home and cooking in her own kitchen, she prepares herself really well ahead of her tours. She tracks her macros and stays on a balanced meal plan which focuses on clean, healthy eating without restricting food groups. She loves protein bars for when she gets a sweet tooth, usually at the end of the night. NITA tries to drink at least half a gallon of water a day, takes L-carnitine before her show and BCAAs during and after her show. Post-show, she refrains from eating a meal and has a protein shake instead with banana chocolate and soy milk. In addition, NITA takes OptiGreens and OptiReds to boost her immune system and gut health. Performing on stage is no easy task. Many musicians describe it as a workout by itself. You need stamina, strength, and power to jump, run, scream, and endure the performance for hours. And so a combination of strength and high-intensity cardio works best for musicians. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did putting this together. If you did, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn those notifications on if you want to see more of this or me.